Hi everyone, my name is Miriam. I'm so sorry for the glitch, but we're back. So, as part of our Black History Month event, so we're having this live stream, and our topic is going to be debunking misconceptions about being black. And I have in the room with me these two lovely ladies. I have Dr. Imose. I think I should let you guys introduce yourselves. So,
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Imuse Itwa. I'm a program leader for the Public Health and Community Wellbeing Program here at the University of Bradford.
yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Tiffany R. Holloman. I'm project manager of Brad Attain NYC at the University of Bradford.
Yeah, and then staring at me right there. I don't know. People can see you. I think you need to come in. You need to come in a little bit. Yes. And this is our black student officer in the flesh in the studio. So say I.
Hi everyone, my name is Emmanuel Oladokun, your black student officer.
Okay, so to kick off this live stream, I would like to ask you, why is Black History Month significant?
So basically, in history, uh, the United Kingdom has decided to pinpoint the month of October, to celebrate the Black History Month, as a month for Black history. And over time, people do recognize this month as a month where you can recall history and look at the struggle of the black people coming to you know, to the United Kingdom. So basically, I can say that Black History Month celebration is to remind us of the struggle of the black people, and also to acknowledge that the fact that the black people are also very important within the community, that we can't tell the story of the world without involving the black people. Like, it helps us to have a good grip of where we're coming from, where we are, and where we are going to. So, the Black History Month to me is a way of celebrating and also acknowledging the fact that black people are also part of the history of the world. So that's just a summary of what I could say.
Yeah, thank you very much, Emmanuel. So Dr. Tiffany, what does blackness means to you?
Blackness is, to me, it means strength. I'm not going to lie, it takes a lot for us to continue on existing in a world that seems to be very keen on anti-blackness and just racism in general. But through it all, and again through history, as Emmanuel was stating, we are still here, and we are not only striving, but we are surviving.
Yeah,
So
that's
the
definitely
strength is
true.
there, and it's innate, and that's what it means to me.
Yeah, thank you very much. So the next question is for you, Dr. Mose.
Hmm.
I'm going to use myself as an example. So I lived 25 years of my life in Nigeria. Being Nigeria, I just moved to the United Kingdom. So for most of us, like black immigrants, like some of my fellow international students, the identity of blackness is a new identity to us. Even though yes, we are black, but we live in predominantly black country. So being black is not something we identify as. When somebody ask me where I'm from,
Mm.
if I was in Nigeria, I would tell them a specific area where my parents are from. It's now that I'm referred to as a black woman.
Mm.
It's like confusing to me because back in Nigeria, I'm a Yoruba woman.
Yeah.
So now I'm a black woman. So how do you think people like me, how do you think they should navigate their blackness? Because it's new. Sometimes I'm lost. Sometimes I don't even know what to do about this new identity.
I suppose for me, it's just celebrating that blackness, recognizing that though you are in a country where blackness is now becoming a thing to talk about because you didn't recognize that color whilst you were in your own country, recognizing that that uniqueness is powerful, um, celebrating that power that you have within you. And as my colleague said, Tiffany, black is resilient. It means that we are able to, where some people might not succeed, are able to succeed because we're looking and striving for that, aren't we? So blackness for you should be something that should be celebrated. So you need to recognize that as a black person, when you get called a black woman, that there's something unique about you and you have something to contribute. Um, and it is that something to contribute that you should be celebrating and voicing out. So not limiting yourself because you're being called a black woman, but
Yeah.
recognizing that a black woman has a lot to give to society and to the community and using that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Would you like to add something?
Yes, I would just like to say is, yes, they're gonna point it out to you. Yes, you're a black woman, but
Yeah.
as Dr. Emo say was saying, it's not all that you are. Now you have to judge for yourself whether you want to define that to other people. Some people you might want to say, yes, I'm a black woman, but I'm also this. I'm also Yoruba. I'm also a student. I'm also whatever. But again, once you start to really self-define who you are, and that's something that, just to be honest, it comes with age a little bit. Sometimes people are forced into it younger than others, but once you start to relish in who you are, being black is just going to be like a bonus.
Yeah, just
Well,
I'm just
Absolutely.
me. Yeah, yeah. Because I've had a lot of my friends that like when we sit down, we have like discussions. They're like it's a new. Like they feel they have to be a certain way, and this leads us to our next question: microaggressions. There was a time one of my friends said at work. A girl came to her and she was like, "Oh, you're so pretty," and she was happy. She was like, "Yeah, thank you." And she was like, "Oh, you're so pretty for a black girl." That was what she said to her. And we've had a lot of black people say things like, "Oh, black people things like, oh, you're smart for a black person." Said to them, "You're this for a black person." Like, okay, so a black person can't be
Yeah.
this, and it's so surreal that you just said it that being black should just be a part of an identity you should be proud of, not
Yeah.
something that's going to limit or define whatever it is that you are. So getting people saying things like, "Oh, you're pretty for a black girl, you're smart for a black person, you're
Yeah.
this for," and I'm just lost. I'm just like, okay. So what does me being black has to do with my looks or my ability or my intelligence?
Well, what you have to understand is that when they say that, what that actually means is they grew up not knowing that they were racialized beings, and it's just to be honest, it's just a part of a skill set that we usually just develop in navigating this world in general as black people. But people who aren't black, a lot of times don't see themselves as racialized. Although, I mean, the existence of the modern world is very much tied to racial
Race.
identity.
Yeah.
And you can, again, it's that judgment thing where you can look at them and just say, read a book, read some James Baldwin or Robin DiAngelo if it'll make them feel better. But at the same time, you look at them and you say, if you want to, and I know the younger kids are more vocal than
Yeah.
we used to be, so you
Yeah.
might just say, thank you. Yes, I am beautiful. I know I am beautiful. And again, but there's so much more to me than that. But again, you pick your battles because you have to, again, know that they typically are not aware of what they missed out as a skill set to, again, recognize that they're racialized.
Absolutely. And I think it's time that we change that narrative as well. So, oh, for a black person, you're smart. Well, a black person has always been smart. If you think about it, the black person given similar opportunity as a non-black person, as a person of other color, would perhaps do quite a lot better, much better. And the simple reason for that is because we're resilient, we want to belong, like just like you said, and that wanting to belong has built something in us that we work really hard to be able to belong. So where others might, for example, struggle because you're wanting to belong, you're putting in that extra work to help you to belong. And ultimately, what that makes you is it makes you a lot smarter because you're putting in that extra work. So you're smart for a black person, just like my colleague said. It's just because of that, not realizing that rationalism. But if you are able to then turn that around and change that narrative, it's not about me being black. It's about the fact that I am naturally smart, I'm resilient, and you bring out the other positive attributes of that black person in you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. In honor of Black History Month, every country have like different date for their Black History Month, and just like Emmanuel said, it's just that month where we reflect about the issue of the Black people and how far we've come and how well we've been able to do for ourselves. But there's a saying called "charity begins at home," because even if we're discussing everything that we've been through in the world about how people view us, how we interact with other people, I think we should also take this month to reflect within the community how we treat other marginalized people within our community. For example, I love that one of our themes for the Black History Month is celebrating our sisters,
Yeah.
because as women, we are also marginalized. Even though we are black, we have two identities following us. We are black and we're women. We have our LGBTQ plus black people, our queer black people. They are also marginalized in a way. So our and s- it's it record shows that most of the time during black movement, even though these two groups have like spearheaded a lot of black movement, at the end of the day, they've been pushed back in some sort of way. So, how do you think we can improve this and include? Because we are preaching the whole thing about Black history and being black is preaching inclusivity, diversity, telling the world that we are just like you. So you don't have any reason to segregate us to like be divisive. But within our community, I don't think it's a good look if we're also divisive within the community. So how do you think we can address this issue within the community to further be inclusive?
For me, it would probably have to be a disruption of education because within the framework of education, you're going to automatically, especially if you're a non white person, you're going to be taught to see yourselves in a certain way. And that, you should, okay, yes, you have a black collective, but you're not, you shouldn't care about the migrant or you
Yeah.
shouldn't care about the queer person. But what isn't taught are the times in history where people pulled together. They looked at themselves and they saw how alike they were and said, you know what, we're not going to take it anymore. I'm a historian, and one of my favorite riots that people rarely hear about is the Stono Rebellion, Stono. And that's when poor people, black people in the U.S., and poor white people in the U.S., this was right at the height or right before slavery, they got together and they said, you know what, we're going to make some head rolls. And they went across several states and burned some stuff to the ground. And because of that one act, that's when the laws started to go in place where black people weren't allowed to read. Black people, it's illegal for them to write. It's illegal for them to communicate because they just saw how powerful that was. That the white and black person was just like, you know what, we're in the same boat. And if we can teach younger people to look at those instances, to look at the migrant and say, no, that's not a migrant, that's me. That's another human being, and say, okay, we can actually work together to solve this. It's more of us than them, to be honest. It's
Yeah.
more of us than them. We just don't know it, or we're paying attention to everything else because we're actually maneuvered to do that. But if we can step away, 10 minutes, 20 minutes a day and look at just how alike we are, whether it's a documentary on YouTube or a podcast or whatever, I think that will start to weave some nuances of power for all of us. And I'll let Emma go ahead and
Yeah.
finish that off.
No, absolutely. I like that, Tiffany. And I think something else as well is it's again changing the narrative, isn't it? So where previously we would say minoritized, and then you say what is minoritized, and they include all the groups that you mentioned just now. Um, it's changing that narrative, and I think the terminology is changing now. We're now using, instead of minoritized, the global majority.
Global majority, yeah.
Okay, because we are the global majority. So recognizing that everyone, we're all the same. We all need opportunities. And so when you think about it, you're not thinking about just a black person or just a black woman, or just the person who's a different gender from you, different sex orientation from you, but the fact that we are all one and we're working towards the same goal. So when you find opportunities and you find yourself in those leadership spaces, use it to the benefit not just of the blackness of the woman, but of this global majority. Draw them in, create opportunities by being in that space of being a leader, and encourage people to come up with you as well
Yeah.
in that space.
Okay. I think one of I just like more like a sub question to what you've just mentioned about this is do we see like practically like the impact of culture
Yeah.
in we more marginalizing some other like the the global majority.
Yeah.
You're looking at we black people
Yeah.
now we have people of culture
Yeah.
and we have this kind of like like Asian knowledge that we grew up with. So
Yes.
does that add to the effect of in a way marginalizing the global majority because sometimes looking at where you grew up from like can say okay the men are to do this the
Yeah.
men are to do this the children are meant to do this and does those things have effect.
Surely, surely. I can only give two examples. Culture is a massive one. I tell you, at the moment writing a systematic review, for example, on factors influencing contraceptive use. I've done the literature search, and I've done everything you have to do for a systematic review. And some of the themes that are coming really strongly is the impact of culture and the impact of awareness, knowledge. So culture plays a massive role, but what you're going to find with the global majority, because my topic was a minoritized population, what I might want to call the global majority now, what you're going to find is the cultural influences are quite similar in this global majority anyway. So, and I think at the beginning you did mention that how you feel. And I think what tends to happen is when we're trying to belong, we tend to want to change that culture. We want to drop our values in
Yeah.
a sense. And my advice is usually do not drop your values. Don't change your culture because it's a bigger part of who you are and how you're going to survive where you are. Um, so I think, yes, the simple answer to your question is culture plays a massive role, but it is something we need to celebrate. It's not something I think we should be dropping. It is something that I think we should be looking for ways of using that positively to help us thrive wherever we find ourselves.
Yeah. Adding to the impact of culture, because I did history on for my undergraduate.
Yeah.
What I discovered is that the old thing about creating minor groups or rejecting some certain group of people within the community, it's not even an inherent black culture.
Yeah.
Our community back in the day used to celebrate everyone.
Yeah.
There's no ordering people. The sense of ordering people, a group of people, is a foreign idea to the black to the shared black culture. The original shared black culture is of acceptance.
Yeah.
Every group of people is accepted into the community, and each and every one have their roles because we have a communal culture. So every one of this identity, they have their role that they play in the community to make
Yeah.
the community strive. So the idea of oh, this is not our some of the things we claim as our
Yeah.
culture right now, it's not even our culture. So
Absolutely.
sometimes yes, the impact of culture is important, but I think sometimes we need to reflect, is this culture sustainable for our community? Because culture can also be dynamic and flexible.
Yeah.
If this culture is not furthering our community, we need to drop it, reflect. Okay, is this really our culture, or is this a taught culture? So that's it. On that's my opinion on the impact of culture in the Black community.
You've dragged it out really well, and you've
I
used
agree.
that word. Culture is quite complex. Yeah. But we are, just like you said, if you think about it, where we've come from, that's why I said don't change your culture. We're very acceptable people. We don't segregate.
Yeah.
We don't find differences. And where we tend to see differences, reflect back to where you're from. I don't know who's Nigerian amongst us. We're accepting of people. We
Yeah.
treat people a lot better than we treat ourselves, even especially when they start to look a little bit different from us.
Yeah.
Do you agree with me on that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you then come to a new country, what we tend to do is, just like you said, it's almost like we're buying a new culture.
Yeah.
I went to the US very recently. When I came back, my boss said to me, "How was the US?" And I said, in everything that happened, one of the things I loved the most, you said good morning to someone, and they said good morning back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even in the US, where you forgot where you were coming from because you've been in England for too long and you're beginning to now develop a different culture within you. In the US, someone said good morning to you to remind you this is your culture. And you said good morning back. I was reminded a few times, good morning. It was amazing.
Yeah.
This is where we're from. This is our values. We should not drop those values
Yeah.
because we're in a new culture. I think rather than trying to buy these other culture, where we have the positive aspects of our culture, what stops us from getting them to recognize this culture and buy it from us. So drop what is negative definitely,
Yeah.
okay? Like for example, women not having authority to make decisions, but the positive ones, sell it where it is possible. And when I came back, I said to myself, there was a time I said to myself, there's no point meeting someone at the lift and saying good morning. But after being in the US and coming back, I said to myself, continue with your style.
Yeah. I had to
Say
stop that
good
as
morning.
well.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't say it back, and
Yeah.
then you feel embarrassed. And I was like, okay.
Say it anyway. So since I came back from the US, anyone I meet, I say good morning. And if they don't respond, sometimes I keep quiet and sometimes I say good morning, a bit louder.
Yeah.
So
It's
you
funny
respond to
'cause
me. Yeah.
I'm from the U.S., so
Yeah.
well, that's one of the first things I noticed when
Yeah.
I came here that they
Yeah.
don't do that.
They don't
Yeah.
do that.
And so
Yeah.
and on campus, what I actually go very U.S. and I just give a heads up to
Yeah.
someone like that, and it's sometimes I do, but I definitely stop the good morning.
Yeah.
My wife, she still does it though most of the time, whether they respond or not.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I just
Sometimes I still do it too. When I go into the shops, I
Yeah.
say like good morning, good day
Right.
to the
Yeah.
attendant.
Yeah.
Some of them they won't reply me, but okay, I discover some of the older brown people, the
Yeah.
Asians, they will reply to you that oh good morning, but the younger ones they just
Yeah.
stare at you like why are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I was like because I'm human. That's why I'm
Yeah.
talking to you.
And
That's what humans do. They communicate.
absolutely.
Like
And I tell you something else that's different about our culture, which I love. And sometimes things happen, and if you're not careful, you start to drop that a little bit.
yeah,
We're happy people.
yeah,
So when I went to the US, I saw that happiness reflected. In Nigeria, it is reflected. You come here, spend a few weeks, and you go back from that being that happy to wanting to be like everyone else. It's a positive aspect of your culture.
yeah,
Don't drop it. Continue to be happy regardless.
yeah,
We're a hardworking people. We're industrious people. We make opportunities where there are no opportunities. Continue to be that. If I think some of these are infectious, aren't they? Yeah. So you try it the first time, the second time, no one is saying good morning back.
yeah,
But eventually they learn, Imose is going to come in this room and say good morning. Be prepared to respond.
Yeah, I guess
Um,
I'll have to adopt that as well. I'll just say good
Absolutely.
morning everywhere
Yeah,
because it's quite heartbreaking,
yeah,
and it doesn't. Even though it's very simple interaction, it
yeah.
makes you feel less safe. Because I remember, I think 4 months after I'm here, and one of my friends was calling me like just to check in that, oh, how do you feel now? And I was like, I don't feel safe. And she was like, why? And I was like where I'm coming from, like it's supposed to be safer here because it's the Western country.
Yeah.
Like it's safer here than where I said, I don't feel not physically, but in terms of mentally, emotional, because
Yeah.
I've encountered some things. I feel like if I'm in trouble, no one is going to help me because I've witnessed people. There was a day I was in the train station and one guy was eating his girlfriend and everyone stood there and they were watching and they're just like, oh, and I was asking someone that, are you going? And I was like, oh, I will just call the police. I've never witnessed that in my life. Like you dare not. I'm not saying there's no domestic violence where I'm coming from. Yes, but you dare not eat
Mm.
someone, a woman, publicly.
Yeah.
Where I come from, it's
Yeah.
impossible.
Mm.
Or you see someone that is sick. I've seen several people like they're trying to pass out on the street, and people are just staring at them. So those events don't make me feel safe because I feel like if I find myself in trouble, no one is going to help me. So I have to be hyper vigilant of my, and that's not a very nice mental state to be because you have to like prepare. If I'm going out, do I have my phone? Do I have my charger? Do I have my cards? Do I have everything? I can't just stroll away because I know if I get into trouble, the possibility of someone helping me is very, very low. So, like you said, I feel like instead of changing ourselves, we should spread the communal culture that we have. We should just spread it and not try to like bring ourselves to the
Yeah.
same thing. That is very lovely. So now to the last part of the question. You were talking about spaces, like when you find yourself in maybe leadership spaces or spaces that are predominantly non-black.
Mm.
Some of us deal with imposter syndrome. So have you ever experienced imposter syndrome and how do you deal with it? You know that feeling of am I qualified to be here? Because they've told us for generations that we are not smart. And sometimes, for the US, I heard when the whole affirmative action thing was because they've used the affirmative action thing to make black people feel in the US like, oh, you don't belong here. We are just helping you out. It's not like you're qualified. And I've seen people online, like young people, they'll just put that, oh my God, I got into Harvard, young black people. And in the comment section, people are telling them, oh, thank God for affirmative actions. And most of the time, these kids are forced to like post their stats. And then you will see the very brilliant student, they pass their SAT in flying colors, they have like nice GPs, but people are still telling them that you're not supposed to be there. It's because of, so I feel like those are the things that give you imposter syndrome. So how do you think as young black people we deal with that feeling?
Well, yes, I have felt it. I still do. I mean, yes, I'm an academic. I'm a manager. I've written books, articles. I have a think tank, and yes, I still feel that. But my actually gaze is turning on it. It's not where I'm the imposter, but the system is actually
Yes.
because I'm actually competent at what I do. If you're gonna judge me by your metrics, I've surpassed what you've put in front of me. So your system of meritocracy is actually the imposter, and I am a believer that again, it's, the gaze. If the young people start to look at that like, there's nothing wrong with me. I have whatever it is I desire to be within me, and I have the skills and capability and network to get it done. It's just that your system is that's flawed, not me. And if you can do that, you'll look at it in a whole different way and say that, okay, I might not know everything about what it is I'm doing, but I have the capability to learn. But again, that's not a flaw. That's just life. And so, again, if you can switch the balance, I think that will be beneficial as it is to me now. And please.
Absolutely. What to add to that? Be yourself. I keep saying that. And I think I was just discussing this with someone recently. Part of being that imposter, you see a lot of people come from other countries, and the first thing they want to do, they want to change the accent so they can belong. And I say, you know what? To a lot of those people, I've been here that many years. Does it reflect in my accent? Because I made a conscious decision to be me, myself. Okay. Um, and it is only when you recognize, be self-aware. Don't get me wrong. Be self-aware. Know what your strengths are. Know what your weaknesses are. But in that, be true to yourself and be yourself. Unless you can build on this self-awareness and be true to yourself and be yourself, you're always going to feel that imposter syndrome. Sometimes imposter syndrome is not because you want to be or you want to feel it, it's because people make you to feel it.
Like you don't
Yeah.
you don't belong there.
And that is possible for a lot of people because that self-awareness is not there.
Yeah.
When you're self-aware and you know what you're capable of, it helps you to deal with it when people try to make you feel the imposter syndrome.
Yeah. For example, for me, like I said in the beginning about like the new identity of blackness, what I discover make me feel that way the most is when I find myself in a space and whoever is addressing me keeps pointing out the fact that, oh, we're happy to have you here because you're black, we're happy to have you here, well, we need more black people, we do this, and I'm like not comfortable with that because they're passing the message of, oh, you're just a token black person to further our diversity statistics, and
Mm.
doesn't make you feel good about yourself that am I here because I'm competent, or you just want to add me to your statistics so you can complete your quota of, oh, we are not a racist establishment. We have 6% black people in our company. So it doesn't make you feel good about yourself because you question yourself every time. And like you said, a friend said to me, the thing is that they are trying to meet a quota or not. For them to pick you, they have high standards for us. They might not have the same for any other, but for us, yeah. So definitely, if they are picking you, you can do the job. They're not going to take a mediocre person. We are not afford mediocrity. So you are definitely not mediocre. You can do that job. That's why you're there. And I feel like that statement has helped me a lot. And just like you said, self awareness is really good for you to know who you are and then be confident in yourself, which is great. So that concludes all the questions we have for you. But we'll still, if final words from you, the message you have for like young black people that are watching this live stream, what do you have to say to them?
Especially possibly looking at their story, what they passed through, what
Yeah.
they can tell us,
And some
in
of
a way
us,
that can
we are
help us
actually
also.
battling the misconception because sometimes you feel like you have to do everything because of all these negative stereotypes. So you have to do the opposite. I was telling my friend one day, I was like, oh, in the bus, one girl was like messing with me, but I didn't say anything. So my friend was like, because I'm usually very very confrontational. And so my friend was surprised. Was like, I just left her alone. And she was like, since when did you start leaving people? I was like, because I'm not in Nigeria, and I've discovered that here, when you like raise your voice and so, as a black woman, you're labeled aggressive. So when in public, I just didn't want to do that. But I felt bad for weeks for not confronting the girl because that's not who I am. Because I'll be upfront with you. If you say something to me or do something, I'm going to talk to you. That no, you don't do that to me. But for that moment, I couldn't do that. So I felt very bad because I was like, this is not me. So sometimes you just lose yourself in these stereotypes because you're trying to like, oh, I don't want them to think I'm this. I don't want people to think I'm this. Oh, because it's like every black person as is not afford individuality. You are representing the black majority, which is wrong. So it's actually quite a burden. So I would like you to like just word of advice as like older black women. What do you have to tell like younger people? How do you like not care about these misconceptions, these stereotypes, and just live your life?
Uh, Two things. One thing, especially when you're coming to a country that is predominantly white or a predominantly white space, my wife and I, we take this tack as we own everything. I mean, if you walk down the streets of Bradford, Leeds, of course, we're in West Yorkshire, and I look at buildings with cornerstones of 1700 and 1800. I'm like, my ancestors built all of this. So I
Yeah,
supposed to be here in
I
this space. I'm reaping the benefit of what they could not. So I I put that ownership on everything across Europe. My wife and I, we went to Versailles, and it's just gilded with gold everywhere. Like, that's all mine. There's not this much gold across Europe, but
Yeah.
it's definitely in Africa. And so, and I take that as a sense of pride. Like, my ancestors are walking with me, and they're seeing and feeling and witnessing
Yeah.
and having the space to do this. The other thing is finding your tribe. Like you said, it comes moments, of course, just when you step outside of your door, and being black is the first thing you like. I got to put on my armor and get ready for whatever is out there today. And sometimes, like you said, you pick your battle. Sometimes you're like, I really want to say something, and sometimes you're like, not today.
Yeah.
But when you get to a space where you have a tribe, your friends, your crew, whoever it is, that you can let all that armor go. You can collapse and say, I need to talk. We need a coffee. We need a wellness weekend, whatever it is for you to just be. Just be. That gives you balance and also the strength to say, okay, I can step out of here another day. But you're going to need that. Don't hold that in. Don't do it alone. I made that mistake. And I'm telling you, for your mental and physical well being, do not do that. And if you don't find it, just come up to my office, and we'll go have a coffee, and you can just collapse your armor. Okay?
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you very much.
absolutely. Surround yourself with people who have similar values as you. It helps a lot. Have support systems in place. But in all of that, realize that you're unique. The black woman is a leader starting from their home. You know what I mean. Starting from their home, you have those leadership skills, some of which cannot even be taught, and you have them. So realize that, yes, um, definitely I'm black and I'm female, but being black and female is a positive thing. And because I'm black and I'm female, and apart from my ancestors built these, I can rule the world because I have skills that is needed out there. And I think that's one of the things that we need to build. We need to change. I keep saying that we need to change that narrative. Pick your battles, that is true. Sometimes you have a voice, correct the negative notions about a black woman. Just like you said, I've felt that imposter syndrome a few times. I've had comments, even up to yesterday, I was just discussing with my colleague, and you wonder, in this day and age, is this still possible? It is possible, it happens. But if you surround yourself with the right people, you engage in things that would move the black person forward, you know you have life outside of work and outside of academia. Those are some of the things. Oh, yes, I have a lot of life outside of academia. Those are the kind of things that encourage you and they move you on. But use your voice. Don't be afraid to use your voice. Don't be afraid to correct misconceptions, but do it not in the best way that is possible so you're not being seen as an aggressive person. Just like you said, a black person, this is how we talk, isn't it? Well, Tiffany's not talking like me, but we talk loud because
Yeah,
we're proud
yeah,
people.
I'm just like
Uh,
when people point out, I'm just like, no, I'm not being. I'm just Nigerian. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I'm going to talk loud. I'm just Nigerian. It has nothing to do with any random. Like, just leave any random black person out of my business. I'm just Nigerian. I'll always talk like this. So that it's not my fault. I'll
yeah.
always talk like this, and yeah, like you said, it's just for you to be true to who you are. And thank you very much, Dr. Moshe and Dr. Tiffany. It's really nice talking to you guys. And thank you, Emmanuel, for being here with us. Before we round up the live stream, Emmanuel, can you tell us more about the other events we have for Black History Month so
Uh,
people can join in?
okay, so I'll just use this opportunity to tell every black student listening to me that basically, as a black student, if you have any challenge and any issue on campus, you are free to reach out to me because that's why I'm here. I'm representing
You
you. I'm
heard
also
from
your voice.
Emmanuel.
So Don't feel you are here alone. It's one of the things I'm here to do for you. Ensure things are easy for everyone, and we can always, channel issues in the right directions and get a result as soon as possible. And also for the Black History Month, we still have a lot of events. We have the essay competition opened already because we looking at celebrating our sisters, and we have the essay competition about up to about £300 prizes available
Wow.
for the first and
That
second,
sounds
first,
nice.
second, and to the third place. So these prizes are available. So all you need to do is just to write about 750 to 1,000 word essay,
So where can
and
they find the link
the
to
link is
this?
on the
Is it
UBU
UBU website?
website. So just write your essay, submit it, and you will review it, and we'll get back to you. And also we have uh, an entrepreneurship section for Black entrepreneurs, which
Okay.
will be that's in collaboration with the School of Management, and
Okay.
it's already live on Career Booster website. It's also
Yeah.
live on
Yeah, I got the messages.
it's also live on the Student Union website, so you can register for these. Though we have limited slots, so you have to do this as soon as possible. This is an
Okay.
opportunity for us to build more business entrepreneurs, generally business owners, and we want black students to also have ideas, who have ideas to come up, in a way, and showcase these ideas, and get them trained. We are going to be having people who have passed through these stages before, who have done it here in the UK, and they can actually, direct us in the right path to go. These are basic things we have, as we're looking at the month of October. Also, we still have about two movie nights every Tuesday of the month. We had one yesterday, and it was fantastic. And we'll be having another one next week, and also
The week
yeah,
after.
after. So just join us. You can sign up on the UB website, and the last event we'll be having is going to be the closing event, which is it's going to involve the staff and students, and it's like the closing gala for the Black History Month. Is just to celebrate it in a big way. So everyone, you're all
Are
invited.
we dressing up?
Yeah, definitely you can come in your your native attires, definitely.
Okay.
So all you just need to do is just ensure you sign up for the closing event. We are going to be
Again.
strict with that. So just look out for the registration link on
All
the
right.
UBE website. So that's all from my end.
Okay. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. So that's it. You edit. Go to the Student Union website right now to sign up for all your Black History events. And once again, thank you to Dr. Moshe and Dr. Tiffany for joining us in the studio today. Thank you very much. And that is the end. Let's
Thank you.
wave. Bye.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank,
Thank
thank you,
you,
thank you for
Miriam.
coming
Thank
around.
you, Manu.